Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is day 3 of our class, and today we are going to be moving further from where we stopped. And a quick recap to what we did in our day 2, we had our named ranges, we had our basically our data preprocessing functions like clean function, the value function, the trim function, the substitute function, the remove duplicate function too. So these functions are important functions that we need to know and need to get accustomed to when it comes to data preprocessing. And by data preprocessing, I mean data cleaning. It is, and like I said, that 60% of our job is done if we can successfully get our data preprocessing done effectively and efficiently too. Data processing is not negotiable because it has a lot to do with your job as a data analyst. It helps data processing helps you to standardize your data for analysis, visualization, report creation, and so on. If your data is up to standard in terms of your clean, your data, your column arrangement, your column formatting, it is going to make your job very, very easier and well detailed. So today, very quickly, we are going to be moving on to another topic. Today, we are going to be discussing various topics. We are going to be starting from VLookup. We are going to be starting from, table introduction to tables. So after introduction to tables, we are going to be moving to our VLookup, where we are going to talk about VLookup. Then after our VLookup, we are going to be talking about our index and match, which is like an upgrade to VLookup. Then after, we are going to be talking about our logical functions. And then we are going to be talking about a whole lot about count ifs, and then some if and some ifs, average if and average ifs, index match, XLOOKUP, and so on and so forth. So without wasting much time, so let's dive into it. I'll see you in the next video. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Very quickly, let's talk about introduction to tables. Now, uh, tables is one way of making sure you have a quick view, a quick access to your data in terms of a quick filter, a quick way to filter your data, a quick way to sort your data from head to top, and in such a way that you would find it easier to look for quick information in terms of your data, finding out some quick things you can really find out from. And then talking about data sorting and data filtering, that is one advantage of converting your data set to table. Originally, whenever you have a data set like this is a data set like this. Whenever you have a data set like this, and don't forget, we said data set is made up of rows and column, well arranged and structured. And the point of intersection of a row and a column is what we call a cell. Now, if you have a kind of data set like this, as it is right now, the way it is in raw form, in pure raw form, as sent to you by your client, we call it, this data set is currently in a range form. And you can see that if if I want to perform a quick view on it, I can't perform it, which means I'll have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll to be looking for quick information. And we are always looking into the larger picture. As an analyst, you need to always look into the larger picture. That is, if you are working with a very, very big data set, you need to look onto the larger picture. And part of making what is going to help you to make your job easier in terms of looking into the larger picture is what we call table, converting your data set to table. And another thing that they're converting your data set from range to table does for you is data filtering and data sorting. Data sorting and filtering are essential techniques in data analytics that is used to organize and analyze and retrieve specific data from large data sets. Sorting arranges data in particular order. Sorting arranges data in particular order. Sorting arranges data in particular order, while filtering extracts subsets based on specific condition. That is the difference between sorting our data and then filtering our data. Like I said, this can be done after we have converted our data set to table. After I've converted our data set to table. And importance of sorting and filtering is sorting helps organize data in logical order, making patterns and trends easier to identify. That is, you can, if you are trying to sort your data just from the word sort, like if you want to see your data from, let's say you have a kind of data set where you have a column that contains age, and then you want to have a quick view as to what is the highest age, that is, who is the oldest person in the age column or in the old data set. You can sort, making you sorting from largest to smallest or sorting alphabetically. If you want to know who is the first person is according to their name in your data set, you can sort to have a quick view or have a quick go at that information. Filtering allows users to focus on specific subsets, aiding in detailed analysis without overwhelming data. That is, for instance, also talking about filtering, I can select this data set like this. I can select this particular column, and then I'll come to my data, and then I'll select on filter, just like we did in one of our previous videos. Like, one of the advantages of filtering your data is it helps you to select and have a quick view. Let's say if I want to see all the informations for my distributors that are from France now, I can like filter my particular column, unselect everything that I have here, and then go and find France, and then check France, and then click on OK. I can see the customer and the information of the distributor. I can see the distributor that comes from France, and then I can see the distributor's ID to be 23345, Devin Abbott from France, the product code of the product the person sold, the sales channel the person sold, then the dates the person sold it, the month, the quantity, the unit price, and then the revenue that this person generates for us. So this is one advantage of uh, data data filtering. Together, they can enhance efficiency and accuracy in data driven condition. The data-driven decision making, sorry. Now, data sorting rearranges data in specific order. It can be done in ascending or descending order, or based on multiple levels of criteria. So, very quickly, when we are talking about, let me clear my filter here. I can clear it from here. When we are talking about data sorting now, let's say I want to view these customers, like I want to view these distributors, I want to view them based on the alphabetical order of each countries. Again, all I will do is to select on my drop down area for filter, and then I'll click on sort A to Z. Then you say exactly, yeah, I want to expand the selection, then I can sort. So by the time I sort, you can see that the first country that I have here is Albania, and then the last country is Zimbabwe. This is how to, like, have a quick go, at your data. And with this selection, with this sort, one single column can be used to create a sort for the whole data set. And then we can have multiple sorting too. For instance, if I have sorted this particular data set with country, right? If I still want to sort it based on, let's say, the revenue generated by each distributor, I will add filters to this particular data set here. right? And then I'll click on my revenue. I'll click on my revenue and then I'll see sort from smallest to largest. If I want to see who generated the most revenue for me or who generated the least revenue, so I can just choose between one of the two. If I'm sorting from largest to smallest, I'll say, okay, now I can see that it is Devin Abbott that generated the most with $3,016 for me. So this is one advantage of using converting your data set to table. It helps you to sort and also to filter your data set. Now, sorting rearranges data in specified order. It can be done in ascending or descending order, just like I said before. Now, we have a very small example, apart from the one that I just showed us on our data set right now. Yeah. So supposing you have a data set of students named and their scores, like just like we have a name and the scores in two different columns. We have Alice, Bob, and Charlie, 85, 72, and 90. And then we want to sort these students by the score. We know just by looking at the data set, we know that Charlie is going to come first, followed by Alice, followed by Bob. Or if we use the sort function, we can see that this we can sort in ascending order, right? And then the result is going to that is the ascending order is from the smallest, the least to the highest. So yeah, but if you are sorting in descending order, it is going to be from the highest to the smallest, and then you can see what the score, what the result is. And then talking about data filtering extracts specific rows from a data set based on given criteria. Basic filtering involves selecting cells that meet a single condition, while advanced filtering allows for multiple or custom conditions. Now, another example of filtering data is also that we can another advantage of being able to filter our data is we can filter based on a particular condition. For instance, here you see this particular condition here that okay, I want to filter this my data set based on students that are greater than that, that is that had the high that their score is from 81 and above. Because if we want to say 80 and above, that means this sign here is going to be greater than or equals to 80, right? So want to see from student from 81 and above, and then we can see that we have Alice and Charlie. Now, there are so many practical use cases where sorting and filtering can be used. The sorting customer, that is, we can sort customer purchase data to identify top buyers, just like something in the same range of this our distributors here, right? We can sort it like that. You can create that kind of sorting, and also and filter sales records to analyze performance in specific regions. We are still going to do a lot of this, don't worry. Then we can also sort inventory data to locate low stock items. We can extract employees with the highest performance for sales reward, and so on and so forth. So this option gives us a wide range of having a quick go, and then it also helps us to get used to our data, which is one of the most important things for you to do as an analyst, getting to know your data, getting acquainted with your data set. So this is what we call sorting and filtering, and then the use cases at which they can be used. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Now moving on from where we stopped. Now let's talk about the difference, like how to convert our data set from ranges. Like I said, range, when a data set is in range, it means it is in its raw form. That is um, the way it came from your client, right? That is the raw form. That is when a data set is still in range, right? So, but now that we've discussed the importance of converting our data set to table, now let's go and convert our data set to table. Now, before we do that, there is one thing that ethically I do personally, and it has helped me a lot. And we'll probably understand the reason why I always work like this as time goes on. Now, there is something about calendars and dates on every data set, because dates and calendar data set, they helps us a lot in giving us an insight or an overview into a data set when it comes to performing a time series or time intelligence analysis or time series analysis, right? So one of the things that I do is that anywhere you see a date function or a date column in your data set, if you have a date column in your data set, it makes your job a whole lot easier. It helps you like to visualize your KPIs most importantly, right? So what I do is I always first of all extract every or split my date column. I always split it into every possible entity. For instance, we know a date is made up of about 4 items. Inside a date, we can have our day, we can have our month, we can have our year, and we can also have our quarter, right? So having all of these options can help you to expand your visualization, like create much more insight, a well-detailed insight into your analysis and your report and your dashboard. So what I do is I extract my date column, and by doing that, we can make use of what we call a text function, right? Just like the text function that we did during our data processing, a text function. Now, what a text function does is that I can separate this date column, right? I can create 3 additional columns. For instance, if I that is in my date, you see I have day, which is number 20, the 29th day of August, which is on the 8th, 2012, right? Which means I can extract about 3 information from this particular data set. 4 actually, if I want to extract my quarter too, but we are still going to be dealing with that later. So if I want to like add all of these columns, that is, if I'm splitting this column into, that means I'm going to have 3 additional columns in my data set, right? So one way that I can do this is if I want my columns to be on the right-hand side, of my original date sold column, it means I'm going to be selecting the column that is beside, or that is in front of my date column, and then I will right-click on it. I'll right-click on that column. So when I right-click on it, I'll click on Insert. If I click on Insert like that, Excel is going to insert a new column for me, and I need to do this in 3 places. So I'm going to do it 2 more times. I'll insert, I'll also insert. So now I have 3 new columns, right? So I can just name the first column day. I will name the second one month, and then the last one year. Don't forget, the goal is to extract this date, is to split this date column into these 3 different entities. We could have 4, that is, we are with quarter also, but we don't really need that for now. We don't need it. We are still going to do it later. So using the text function, I am going to extract both the day, the month, and the year into separate columns by using text function. So I'm going to say equals to, and don't forget, the goal in Excel is to automate. You do one correctly, Excel does the rest for you automatically. You do one correctly, Excel does the rest for you automatically. Now, but before I do this very quickly, before I do this now, I think this is the best time for me to convert my data set to table, right? And then you will see what I'm talking about. Or better still, maybe I should do one, and then I will let Excel take care of the rest for me. So let me just say equals to text. And then Excel is asking me that what is the value that I want to like extract my text from. So I want to extract my text from making reference to my date sold column. I'm going to click on F2, column F2, cell F2. And don't forget the reason why we are making reference to this particular column. It is because that is where our information that we want to extract is. So we're going to say comma. Now, there is another thing there is another occurrence that happens whenever we want to make an extraction, making use of text function like this. Now, there is a format at which we need to follow to carry out these 3 processes, that is for day, for month, and then for year, right? So before I go into my extraction, let me give us a quick insight into what I am talking about. Now, if you want to extract your month, your day now, We know day, the spelling of day starts with D. The spelling of month starts with M. I'm sorry. The spelling of month starts with M, and then the spelling of year starts with Y, right? Now, and I also tell us that whenever we want to type anything in any one of these data analysis softwares or any programming software whatsoever, if you are typing text, that means you need to put them into quotation. And um, if you are typing values, you don't need to put them into quotation, right? So I want us to put that one at the back of our mind, right? So let me go back to my column extraction. I'm going to say equals to text. Now my value is from my F2. Now the format for day now, if I want to have my day as, for instance, if I want to have my Wednesday, that is, if I want to have my Wednesday as a full written Wednesday in terms of spelling, I will just write my quotation mark and then I'll say D, 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 that it's D in 4 places, right? And don't forget, for every bracket you open in Excel, you have to always close it. And then I'll click on my enter. And then you will see that I have my Wednesday in full. Now, there's another way we can do this. If I don't want my Wednesday to come out in full, I just want it to come out as WED, as word. Instead of me having my 4Ds here, I can just make it 3. And then I'll click on my enter. And then you'll see the difference between what I have before and what I have now. But me, according to me, I like being thorough with whatever it is that I do. I like standardizing my data. That is why we are going to leave this at in full. So I'm going to click on this and then I'll do this and then let Excel automate the rest for me. Now, if our data set is in table, right? Most of the time we will not need to double click on our filler handle. All we have to do is the moment we hit enter for the first one, the rest does itself automatically, right? The rest does itself automatically. So very quickly, let's go into conversion of data set to table. Remember, we still have our month and our year to do, right? We still have our month and our year to do. So we'll do that in the next video. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So let's convert our data set to table very quickly. So now in Excel, you need to determine the range at which you want to convert the table. You can decide to convert just 3 columns, selecting 3 columns and converting them to table. And you can also just select the whole data set and convert them to table. Now, there are different situations at which is going to determine whether you need to convert your whole table to data set or you just want to convert like a few columns or a particular selected ranges. Though I have not really have any reason to convert a few range into table, most of the time it is going to demand you to convert your whole data set into the table. So which is going to be the scenario we are going to be assuming here. So all I have to do is just to select it on any cell on my data set and then I'll press on Control A. Control A select everything on every item on my data set for me. And it's going to select it from cell A1 and it's going to select it to cell what is my last cell here? Cell M, that is cell M108, right? This is the range of my data set that I want to convert into table. And then the next thing I'm going to press is Control T. Control T. By the time you press on your Control T, you see Excel is going to ask you that, okay, you want to create table? Yes, I want to create table. And then where is the data for your table? And then you can see the range here, like from cell A1, that is from this distributor ID cell, to cell M108, that is the last cell on my revenue. That is my range. Now, Excel is also asking me that does your data set has headers? Does my table has headers? Yes, it has headers, and then you can see the headers for each columns here. Assuming our data set doesn't have headers, and then this place we are going to uncheck this place. Now, what Excel is going to do is Excel is going to create imaginary It's going to create an imaginary column headers for me. And then those imaginary column headers are going to be, this distributor ID is also now going to be part of the data set. And Excel is going to create extra columns for me and then name all the column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4 like that. But go so good, I have my table as headers. So I just need to leave this place checked like this, and then I'll click on OK. Then by the time I click on OK, whenever I am selecting on any cell inside within this data set, you will notice that Excel is going to give you an additional tab here on your ribbon tab, which is called table design. This table design tab is specifically meant for this table, is specifically meant for the table you just created. Sorry. It's specifically meant for the table you just created. Now, if you select outside this particular table, you'll see that the ribbon, the tab is going to disappear. And you see that you don't have the tab anymore. So, which means all the options under this design table is meant specifically for this table. And then we have so many things that we can do under the design table. We can summarize the whole table with pivot table, we can remove duplicates, we can convert it. Now, converting, we can remove this our data set and then turn it back to the way it was before. That is when we click on our convert to range. If I click on my convert to range now, Excel is going to ask me, am I sure? Yeah, I am pretty sure. So if I click on yes, you see that the additional tab has disappeared, right? And then I have my data set the way it was from default, right? So let's just go back to converting our data set to table. Control A, Control T, and I'll hit enter. Now, another thing that we also need to take note of by converting our data set to table is that we can rename that table. We can customize, we can give it a customized name. According to you can give it a customized name. Now, let's converting our, renaming our table now. You can just come to the table design tab, and then the first option you are going to see on your far left is the tables properties. Now, under the tables properties, you see table name. Just click on it, and then you can rename your table as, let me name mine data set. And let me name it data set. And then I'll hit enter. Remember, and I said that making customization in Excel does not accept putting spaces. Let's say, assuming I wanted to say my data set, I want to name it data space set, right? I want to make it 2 words. If I click on enter, Excel will tell me that this syntax is not correct. It is because I am putting space. So instead of space, sometimes you can just compensate for it by making use of your underscore or your dash, or just writing it together the way I've written it together right now. And then I will save. Now, very quickly, this is how to convert our data set to table, and then we can view different, we can perform different functions, just like our sorting and our filter are sort by a whole lot of options. We can also filter this particular data set. That is one advantage of converting our data sets from range into table. Now, very quickly, let's continue our date table extraction. So we have extracted our table, right? We have extracted our month, our day, I mean. So let's extract our month, and then you'll see the difference between converting our data sets from table to range, and then from range or leaving it at range now. So if I will say equals to, using the same function text, so equals to text, text, and then from the same table also, I can just press my F2, right? You see that the moment I press F2, Excel selects it for me, and then comma, and then the format for month, just like we did for our day. This time around is going to be for month. I'll just say open quotation MMMM, and then I'll close my quotation, close my bracket, and then I'll hit enter. And then you will see that when my data set was still in range, I did this one first correctly, and then I had to double click on this fill handle here before Excel will automate the table for me, right? But look at when I now converted it to table, I converted my data set to table, and then all I had to do was to do the first one correctly. You see, the moment I hit my enter, right? The moment I click on enter, the rest followed suit. I don't have to even use my field handle here before Excel does it for me. That is another advantage of converting our data set into table before making use of it. So having done that, let's also quickly extract our year. I'm going to say equals to text, same function, same method, F2, comma, and then year is the same way. This time around is going to be Y. Open quotation, Y, 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 and then I'll close my quotation, and I'll close my bracket. Then I'll hit enter. And then you can see that this 29/8/2012 is actually Wednesday, August 2012. So having done that, I think we are good to go in terms of our data preprocessing, right? And then we can, if you check each and every one of these columns, we will see they are formatted, they have their own specific format, right? For instance, you can convert, if peradventure you felt like there is a need for you to like restructure these particular columns or to be sure of this columns format. So you can just click on each of the columns. For instance, if I click on my distributor name column, and then I can come to my number. It is currently in general. I can be specific and set it to text, right? I can set it to text, standardize everything. The same thing for my country. I can do the same thing for my country. Also, for my sales channel, now we can do multiple selection, right? You can do multiple selection. That is, you can select two columns together, holding down your control and then selecting two columns together. I'm sorry, I have this selected already, and then I can select on these two, and then you still perform the same thing for both columns, right? So, having done that, this is how to convert our data set into table, and then you know and then the advantage of doing that, right? The advantage of converting our data set into table, it automates tasks for us. As a matter of fact, it even makes life easier. Instead of having to either drag down our filler handle to autofill or to fill, or to double click on it to fill, all we have to do is just to do one correctly. The moment you hit your enter button, Excel does the rest for you automatically. No, no playing about, right? So having done this, I want to believe that our data set is now structured and well standardized and is ready for our analysis, right? Is ready for our analysis. So you can see that we have two month column here. We have two month column. The default column that came with our data set, that is the months old, and then the column that we created, the month column that we created, right? One is in words and one is in values. We are like, as we all know, that August is also like the 8th month of the year. So there is no missing that. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video where we are going to be moving into VLookup properly. Thank you. Hi everyone. Welcome back to another video. Now, properly, we are going to be moving on to what we call VLookup. VLookup. And there is this saying that if you say you know Excel, like you are confident of yourself, you take pride in yourself about knowing your onions. That is, you know your way very well when it comes to Microsoft Excel. And then you are now asked about VLookup, and then you said you don't know. I don't really know VLookup. Nah. That means you don't know anything about Excel, because basically, yeah, Microsoft Excel starts, if you want to like, flaunt your prowess in Excel, it starts from VLookup, because VLookup is the real deal, right? VLookup is the real deal. You say you know Excel and you don't know VLookup, I don't know what you know in Excel then. What do you mean you don't know what VLookup is? And it's not good enough. Knowing VLookup is your way takes you on your way to becoming a professional, right? In making use of Microsoft Excel. Now, what is VLookup? VLookup is a vertical lookup of information on your data set. A vertical lookup of information on your data set or your table, as you like it. VLookup is a vertical looking up information vertically. You know, when something is coming from up to down, it means vertical, right? Now, when something is coming from right to left or left to right, that is horizontal. So what VLookup does is VLookups look up for information, any information that you are seeking, it looks up for it column wise. It looks up for it column wise from up to down, checking each and every column for you, right? And then the syntax for VLookup is whenever you are calling up your VLookup, the first thing you have to deal with is your lookup value. This is a value you want to look up more information around. And then the table array, which is the table that is just the name of your table or the table you want to find out this information from. That is basically your data set. And then the column index number. That is the column, the number. That is if you are counting from 1, 2, 3, 4. And this if you are counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, the number of the particular column you want to bring out this information from, right? And then the range lookup. This is optional. The range lookup, that is the range at which you want to look up this data set, this information from. VLookup value you want to look up more information around, table you want to look up from, column you want to return, and then false. Now, an overview. VLookup functions allows you to look up a value you want to find in an Excel list or a table. It helps to look at a value in one column and find its corresponding value on the same row in another column. Another thing that VLookup does is it stands for vertical. That is, like I said, vertical lookup, which means the data in the table must be arranged vertically with data in rows. Now, it can be used to search among structured data, that is a well-cleaned and a properly arranged data. And also you can combine it with other functions to extract specific information, which we are still going to be doing something like that. The tips and tricks of VLookup, the tips and tricks that VLookup does is the table and the data must be structured. You can always find the VLookup will always find the first match. If it cannot find the first match, then it's going to take over looking for that information on the second match. Now, named ranges make VLookup easier to read and more portable. That is another reason why we converted our data set to table, right? And then if you have your NA error is displayed, that means whatever information you are looking for does not really exist on this data set. VLookup has searched and cannot find it. And the most fascinating part of this thing is that VLookup does its search in, like, I don't know if there is a word called, if there is something called like split seconds, like a milliseconds. The moment you hit your enter, Excel has swung into action and then find it for you if it is available. That is how fast. Like, I don't know which one is faster between the speed of light and then Excel making use of your VLookup function for you. So let's go to our table. Let's go to our workbook and then practicalize what VLookup is about. And let's practicalize what VLookup is about. So we have our data sets like this. We've renamed our table to data sets and so on. So let's go to our problem sheet now. So you were given a small subset of your data from your clients. This is the real deal now. You're given a small subset of the data from your clients, which means if we check from our data here, we have distributor ID, the distributor name, the country, the product code, and so on. So which means every one of these data here have been extracted from our main data table here, right? So for instance, these are IDs, distributors ID, these are the distributors countries, and then the name of distributors. So your team has been given a list of transactions that requires additional follow-up. Identify the associated distributors below using VLookup. Now, we want to use VLookup to bring in the names of these distributors. We just know there is a particular distributor that has distributor ID 23265. We don't know the name of the person. How do we do it? How do we do it if, especially if we have a very large data set, right? Cannot be checking one by one. Even if you are going to use your filter, you might want to use this thing to perform a quick function, or make some arrangement. Make some arrangements on this. So that is why we are going to use VLookup to bring in this information. So the only information we have about this person is just their ID. We don't know their name. So I'm making use of VLookup. We are just going to say equals to VLookup. I'm going to type your V. Excel will ask you that, do you mean VLookup? Yes, I mean VLookup. So I'm going to select. Now, the first thing first in our parentheses is our lookup value. What are we looking for? We are looking for this distributor here, distributor 23265, comma. Now, Excel is asking us what is our table array. That is, our table array is the same thing as our table. And don't forget, we have converted our data set to table and then renamed our table. We've customized our table name, to data set. So data set. I'll just type data sets. The moment I start typing, Excel will tell me, do you mean data set? Yes, I mean data set. So I'm going to select, comma. The moment I select, I hit my comma, Excel move to the next option for me. Now, Excel is asking me that, what is your column index number? I am looking for the distributor's name, right? So the column index number of my distributor. Now let's go to my data set here. Let's go to my data set. And like I said the other time, VLookup makes use of column index. So in terms of index, it means the number, the column number. So distributor ID is column number 1, name is column number 2, country column number 3, product number 4, sales channel 5, 6, 7, and so on like that. So we know that our distributor name is on column number 2. Part of getting to know your data, getting used to your data is this, like knowing which column number or column index number each column belongs to in your data set. So I'm going to go back to my problem sheet. I'll say equals to VLookup. Again, I just had to switch to make an example. Then my data set, and then my column index number. Now don't forget, for distributor's name, because we are looking for this distributor's name using the ID is 2. Then, sorry, and then now there is 2 last options under VLookup. Excel is going to ask you, do you want approximate match? Now, approximate match in Excel is the values in the first column table must be sorted. That is, if you want something that, okay, this distributor, let's say there are so many distributors that has 2326, and then the only thing that is unique about all of those distributors are their last numbers, right? So if you are making use of approximate match, it means the first thing that Excel is going to look up for in terms of in terms of your VLookup is that if Excel can find the first 4 numbers, then approximate match is going to return like the first person on these first 4 numbers, right? Because they are all identical. They are all separated by the last number, right? But no, we don't want that. We want exact match, because we know and we believe that there are so many customers, that are distributors, that will have about, let's say, the same first 4 figures. Only the 5th figure is going to make them unique. Instead of me to select my approximate match, I'm going to select my exact match. We select exact match in most cases. As a matter of fact, in 99.9% of cases, you make use of the false approximate match, the false match. So, and then I'll close my brackets, and then I'll hit my enter. And then you can see that distributor 23265 is Uriel Benton. So I can just double click, and then I can see that distributor 23215 is Anika Tillman. And how do we confirm whether this is correct or not? We can as well go back to our distributors. We'll go back to our main data. I click on my data. I can come here, can come to my distributor's name. I can filter and then go and find Uriel Benton. I'll scroll down Uriel. Where is Uriel? So this is Uriel. Click on Uriel Benton. Then you can see Uriel Benton is called distributor 23265. which is the same thing that we have here. And we can do the same thing for Anika Tillman too, just for us to confirm whether whatever it is we are doing is actually correct, and it shows that it is actually correct. So this is how to make use of your VLookup. So imagine if you now have a very large data set, you can just do this at a go and then you are good to go. Understand? So let's go to the next problem. Using the sales data set tab, let's pull the sales channel for each distributor ID. Now, we have this distributor's ID, but we want to match them with our sales channel. We don't know the channel at which this distributor sold their goods. So we want to use their ID to find out, to pull in their sales channel. Just like the same thing we did here, is the same thing we are going to do here. So, and don't forget, let's count before we start. This is this column index number 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. So I want us to note that. So I'm going to say equals to VLookup, then my first lookup value, then my table array, like I said, data set, then my column index number for sales channel. For sales channel is what? Column number 5, and then exact match. Exact match. So I'm going to hit enter. Then I can see that distributor 23265, which is a Uriel Benton, sold his or her product in retail, right? So let's just auto click, double click, and then you will see Excel does the rest for us automatically, right? So this is the sales channel for each one of these distributors. We can also confirm from our data set by making use of our filtering option. We can filter and then check if this thing is correct. So let's move to the problem 1C. Now, there is a uniqueness to this problem 1C, right? So we need to create a unique ID to be able to answer this particular question. That is, we are asked to attach a unique identification to these sales channels, right? In such a way that whenever, let's say we just want to attach a code to each sales channel, right? Let's say on the sorting shelf of the company or of the store, we have unique names that we give to each of these sales channel on our data set, on our in our store or in our warehouse. For instance, let's say anywhere you see SC dash 002, it means that is your online, that is that product was sold online, or that customer sold the product online, right? Sold. So anytime, it's just like, it's a basic stuff, attaching unique ID, or attaching something unique to your sales channel, right? Attaching something unique to your sales channel. And I will want us to, like, calmly and calmly carry out this particular question in details, because I want to explain this very, very well for easy comprehension and easy understanding for everyone, so that we can understand it better, and then we'll know the concept at which this this question can come up, because this question do come up a lot. I've seen it in so many different situations and different scenarios. So I'm going to see you in another video to solve this particular problem. See you in the next video. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Now let's continue from where we stopped. So in our last video, we said we are going to create a unique ID for every one of these sales channel here, right? For every one of these sales channel here. And we want to do it in such a way that even after creating these unique IDs here, and then this particular question has been solved, we should be able to also add this unique ID, the unique ID we are going to create, and then add it to our main data set here. So whereby anywhere we see our sales channel, any of our sales channel, will recognize them by their unique ID or by their code. So What I'm going to do is we are going to create a new sheet here, and then we are going to create a mini table. We are going to create a mini table, right? So I'm going to say sales channel, and then I'm going to say um, unique ID for those sales channel. So let's try it. And then how many sales channels do I have? I think I have 3 sales channels. I have online, I have direct, and I have retail. So let me also rename these and say SC unique ID. So the first sales channel is online. Second one is direct, and third one is retail. Right? So I need to attach a unique ID so I can say that me personally, specifically, or me personally, I am going to use you can decide to use anything for yours too. But for me, and for the context of the class, I am going to be using ST dash 0001. Right? The second one SC dash 002 SC-003. Now I'm doing this in such a way that SC is going to be sales channel. Then sales channel 001, I will know that I'm talking about online. Sales channel 002, I'm talking about direct. And sales channel 003, I'm talking about retail. Right. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this particular small data set into table. I'll select all, click on my Control T, and then I'll check this box that my table has headers because these are sales channels and these are unique IDs. So I'm going to check this table has headers, then I'll hit OK. So I can just customize this table and say unique ID, unique ID, unique ID. So now that I have done this, I can go back and then answer my question. Remember, the goal is to make sure that anywhere I see online, the unique ID for online will be SC001 according to what I just created here. Anywhere I see direct, or anywhere I see SC002, I will know that I'm talking about direct. Oh, sorry, we also have indirect too. So I think we need to create one more. We have indirect, indirect, direct, and to be FC004. Right. So now let's go back and answer the question. So I'm going to say, and don't forget now, you see, whatever we are going to do here, we are going to make use of this new table, right? And then you will see the reason why. So I'll say equals to VLookup. Now my lookup value is my sales channel. The first sales channel is online, right? Comma. My table array. Now instead of going and using my main data set, you know I don't have any column on my main data set that is called unique ID. So I'm going to use the data set that I just created, right? So I'm going to say unique, and see the unique ID that I just created here. I'll select. And then the table, the column index. What is the column index of this unique ID that I just created? Now, the column index, that is the column number of my unique ID on my unique ID table is column number 2. I'm going to hit on 2 and then exact match, close my bracket, hit enter. So you can see that anywhere I have online here, just like I have online here 001. So I'm going to be having it as SC001. So all I need to do is just to double click and then you'll see even in my indirect is SC004. Now, you on your own, right? I want you guys to like pull this. I want you to attach all this information SC001234 That is all these sales channels unique ID code that we just created. I want you to pull it and then add it to your main data set here. Now, how are we going to do that is, let's say we have our sales channel. Let's just create an additional one here, front here, additional column, and call this column sales, let's say SC, that is sales channel unique underscore unique ID. Right. Remember that if I put space here, Excel is not going to accept it. That is why I'm putting underscore. So just like the same way I did the other one, I'm going to do this one also. So I'm going to say equals to VLookup. And then my lookup value is my sales channel or my E2. You would notice that Excel is calling when I selected on this particular cell, Excel is naming it sales channel. It is because I have converted my data set from range to table, right? This is because I have converted it from range to table. So I can as well type E2 and I can just select on it. So let me just type E2, E2, column, cell E2, and then my table array is my unique ID now, unique ID from the table that I created. Now my column index is still column number 2, and then I'm doing exact match, and then exact match, and then if I hit my enter, you see Excel is going to populate this particular column for me automatically. Then you can see now and see that I have unique IDs. I have unique IDs for all of my sales channels here. So anywhere I see online, I will know it is SC001 and so on and so forth. Then you can see what I have here. So that is that about that. So let's go back to our problem sheet. So we have answered this question. Now, the next question now says we need to identify the sales channel and quantity amount associated with the distributors IDs below. That is, we need to find the sales channel of each of these distributors that are listed here. So we want to do it in such a way that I just want to do one and then let Excel do the rest for me automatically, or I can just autofill. I can decide to convert this mini table here into table, the main data set here into table, or I can just leave it in ranges like this. So the first thing that we need to bring in is to bring in our sales channel. We can decide to use our unique code, unique ID that we just created for our sales channel. At the same time, we can decide to use the main sales channel. But let's just stick to using the main sales channel. So I'm going to say equals to VLookup. Now the lookup value is my distributor ID. That is what I'm looking for. And then table array from my data set. Now I'm back to my data set table. And then the column index number. The column index for my table now is, what is the column index for our sales channel? Column number 5. And then I want exact match. And then I'll close my bracket. I'll hit my enter, which means distributor 23353 sold is our product directly. And then if I double click on this, I'll have the rest done for me automatically. Now we can do the same thing for quantity. Let's go and check the column number for quantity. So this is column number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, 11, 12, 12. Quantity is column number 12, unit price 13, revenue 14. Now, there are some cases that may arise whereby these columns here, the original columns of the data set, will still retain their numbers, right? Regardless of whether we have added these new columns into them, this day, month, year, and also the unique ID too. So you need to really watch out for that, so that it's not going to seem as if you are doing something that is wrong. You are not doing something that is wrong. Your IDs or your column index number just changed, right? So let's say, sorry, I think I've forgotten again. This is column number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So column number 12, I'm going to say equals to VLookup. You can as well copy these formulas too from this previous one too. So VLookup, my lookup value is this from my data set. My column index number is column number 12 for my quantity, and then the exact match. And let's see if this is correct. Yeah, it's actually correct. So this customer sold 160, this distributor sold 168 products direct on the direct sales channel, on the direct sales channel. So all I have to do is just to autofill the rest, and I can see that. So the same thing I'm going to do, we are going to do the same thing for our revenue. So let's go and check our revenue. So if this is 12, this is 13, and then this is 14. So let's go back to our problem sheet. Say, let me just copy. Let me copy and see if it's going to work. Copy, and then paste, and then let me adjust my formula here to be 15. If it doesn't work, we'll go back to the original one. Let's just try something out. So it's not working. Let's just do it originally. We'll say equals to VLookup. My distributor ID here, my table array is my data set. My column index number is column number 15. Column number 15. Yeah, is it 15? Yeah, I think it's 15. Then exact match, close my bracket, hit enter. Which means I don't have column. The column is not column 15. So let me check again. This is 12, 13, 14. Sorry, column number 14. Let me see. I'll just edit this. Put 14. Yeah. So which means this distributor has sold 166, 168 quantity, and then the revenue is 2,436. So I autofill like this, and then I'll see for the rest. We know the revenue is a what do we call it now? Is a currency column, right? Revenue is a currency column. So we need to format it as currency. So I'm going to select everything here. Then I'm going to come to my number. Then I'm going to attach currency into it here. And also, if I want to like change my currency, I can put any currency there. I want to put naira, dollar, pounds, yen, and all those stuff. So I can just come to, while still selecting on my columns, on my data, I'll come to my numbers there, select on this, and then I'll click on currency, and I can choose the symbols. Let me remove the decimals. Then I can choose the symbol. That is the currency that I want to use specifically. I can use the Chinese dollar, Cherokee, the Tata, the English. I can also use Naira too. Now we have Nairas, we have Fulani, Hausa, Ibibio, Igbo, and all those stuff like that. But me, I think I'll prefer dollars to Naira based on don't mind me, based on how poor the Naira is currently right now. So I'll just select on my dollars, that is my Canadian dollar, and then I'm going to hit OK, and then you see our revenue is now properly formatted. So this is how to make use of our VLookup function to carry out our to find out information. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video, where we are going to be moving into putting other function inside VLookup. Putting other functions inside VLookup. Thank you very much. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So let's pick it up from where we stopped. Now this time around, we are going to be nesting VLookup with other functions. And whenever you hear nesting in Excel or any data analytics tool, software for that matter, whenever you hear the word nesting, it means you are combining one particular, you are combining more than one function together to carry out an analysis in Excel. That is, you are combining more than one function together. So in this case, in this our problem 2a, we are going to be nesting VLookup with another function called if error. Though we are still going to be dealing with the if function later, but we just want to like make a quick stop. We want to make a quick reference to it here. So now the problem said next VLookup with if error and pull the name associated with the distributor ID. Distributor ID. Now, what we are going to do is whenever, and also I want us to put this at the back of our mind that whenever you are nesting a function with the original function, right? The function you want to nest is what is going to come first, and then the original function is going to come second. Again, whenever you are nesting a function, whenever you want to nest a function with the original function we've been using before, the function you want to nest is going to come first, and then the original function is going to come second. For instance, here, let's look at this particular table that we are given. You see the distributor's ID. Now, our client has reached out to us that on our payroll, we found out that there are some distributors that are, that are collecting money. Right? Let's say you have a data set. Don't even let us use a distributor ID. Yeah, this is our distributor that we've been using before. Let's use a different scenario. Let's say that okay, there's a government payroll, a company's payroll where people are like earning salaries and all those stuff, and they got to find out that there are some people that doesn't exist on our table, but for some reason somebody has been using a fake ID to pay these people, which means they are redirecting the company's funds into their own pocket, into a fake account, and we need to figure out who are on these fake accounts, right? So our client has sent us our data sets, like our main data set that we've been using since. And then even though we are looking at this our distributors ID, we can guess which distributors don't belong to this group, to this data set, right? So, but what if we are dealing with a very, very large data set? So that is why we are going to be nesting our VLookup with our if error. So all I have to do is just to come here, and then we call on our the value we want to the function we want to nest, which is if error. There's a function in Excel called if error. So I'm going to say if error, then I'll hit enter. And this if error is for updated Excels. If your Excel worksheet, if your Excel software is up to date, just like this my own, the latest Office version, the latest version of Office is Microsoft Office 2024. There's a combination of both Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Office package 2024 is the latest. So I'll say equals to if error. Now, if I am nesting, if we are nesting a column or if you are nesting a function together, now instead of me, if error also has its own parenthesis, that is, you need a value and then you need value if error. Now, instead of me to now enter my value, then I'll bring in my original column, which is my VLookup. Then I'll say VLookup. So my VLookup is going to be standing in the place of my value under if error. So that's my VLookup. And then the moment I hit enter in VLookup, right? VLookup will now open its own parenthesis. Don't forget, if error opened its own parenthesis, just two values and a value if error. But instead of us to now, we want our VLookup to represent our value for our if error, right? So Excel is asking me what is my lookup value. This is my lookup value for my VLookup, comma. Then my table array is my data set as usual, comma. Then the column index, I am looking for the countries of this distributor. I'm looking for the countries of this distributor. And if we check our data set, we'll notice that our country is on column number 3. So I'm going to say 3, comma. Then Excel is asking me, yes, exact match. I'll close my bracket for VLookup. You notice that the moment I close this bracket, right, Excel has moved away from VLookup and has moved back if error for me in terms of the parentheses, right? So if I hit my comma, it means I have represented my value to be VLookup. I have used VLookup to represent my value for if error. Now, the second part of if error is, if error, Excel is now asking you that, okay, let's now say I can find a distributor ID here, but these distributors are fake. They don't have a country. What do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to display as the result for you? That is the meaning of our value if error. What do you want me to display as error? What do you want me to say to show that these people are false? And you can just input anything there for you by yourself. For me, I will say I want to use does not exist. I want you to display and tell me that these customers or these distributors don't exist. So I'm going to open my quotation. I'll write does not exist. Close my quotation, and then I'll close my original bracket. Like I said, if you open more than one bracket in Excel, you have to close it. Look at me. I used two functions, which means I am going to, I opened two brackets. This is the first bracket here, this is the second bracket. So I have to close both of them. I have closed the first one here, and then I have closed the second one here. If I hit enter, you see that distributor 23265 is from South Africa, which is right. But if I autofill down, you can see I have two. As a matter of fact, I have three fake distributors that have been earning money from the company but doesn't exist. You can see them. Distributor with distributor 30,000, distributor ID with 30,000,400,000 and then 35,000. They don't exist. So I can do the same thing for their names too. I can do the same thing for their names. So I'm going to say equals to same thing if error, then VLookup, and then my lookup value is my lookup value. And then my table is data set. Then my column index for name, distributor name now. So that is column number 2. So column number 2, and then exact match. So I'm done with the first one, and then I'll hit comma. And then I still want to put does not exist or no name, any one of the two. So for consistency sake, let me stick to my does not exist. Not exist. Exists. It's my enter. Oh, sorry. I used if instead of if error. Sorry, if error. So I think all is good now. So enter, yeah. So the first distributor is Uriel Benting. Then you see that we will continue to have a pattern of these customers that don't exist because we can see them from their distributor's ID already that they don't exist. So I'll do the same thing for our revenue too. Equals to, so we need to make sure we get our revenues number correctly. So what do we use there? So our revenue is on column number 14. So let's say equals to if error, if default, column B61, B61. My table is data set. Column for revenue is column number 14, don't forget. And then exact match. Exact match. I'll close my bracket, I'll hit my comma, and then I'll still insist on not, I'll just set it as not available for my display message now, for my value if error. So it's going to be not available. And then let me see if I can bold this from here. I don't know. I'm just trying. Now. So then I just autofill here. And then if this guy is bold, show me that they are not available. So I can also format this particular table here, this particular column, because you know it is a value column, a currency column. So I'm going to set it to currency. Then I'm going to what I did the other time, change my symbol to Canadian dollars. Hit okay. So and see. Let me see if I have here to be accurate. So this is how to nest a function with another nest with function with VLookup. So let's go to the next one. So your team has been given a list of transactions that requires additional follow-up. Identify the associated distributors below using VLookup. That is, we need to, just like what we did up here, we need to extract our distributors. We need to extract our distributors' name and their revenue. Just like we've been doing since, we are going to be carrying out the same process for these distributors. So making use of VLookup, if error and VLookup, we can see a distributor that doesn't belong there already, but we need to expose that distributor. We say equals to if error VLookup. Our lookup value is this here from data set. We are looking for the name, so column number 2, exact match, and then does not exist. Does not exist, close my bracket, since I'm autofilling, and then B. So for my revenue, also don't forget revenue is 14. If error, VLookup, my lookup value, my data set, my column index number for revenue is 14. And then exact match. And then let me put this as null. Then an autofill. Then you can see my null already. So that is that. You can see it's pretty simple. VLookup is very simple and technical. If you know your way around it, you are going to make it's going to make your work a lot easier. It's going to make your work a lot easier. So now, this is another question here. Use the sales data set to pull the unit price for each distributor. We've been using revenue and other columns since. So let's make use of our distributors, our unit price column. So let's go and check what is the column index number for our unit price. So let's say this is column number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's 13. So let's go to our problem sheet. Same way with nesting. So it's going to be equals to if error VLookup. Our lookup value is this, comma, and our table array is our data set. Our column index number is of 13, right? 13. And then we are dealing with exact match, close brackets, comma, then the unit price. If it does not exist, let me just put null as usual, null, and then I'll close my bracket, I'll hit enter. So I can just fill down and then bring out these guys here. Let them be bold and let them be unique. So you can see now that the unit price for all of these distributors are this, and then the ones that I cannot find, they are here like that. So this is how to make use of VLookup and also nest it with another function. I hope we have been able to understand, and I have also been able to explain well to you how VLookup works and how it can also be nested or combined with another function to carry out or to pull an information from our data sets, especially large data sets, especially our large data sets. Let me, for consistency's sake, let me also adjust these ones to null. Let me just put them as null. So, or better still, let me just adjust it from the top here so that I can autofill again null. Yeah, I have it. Typo error. Okay, sorry, I think I used two quotation marks. So So let me just autofill again. Yeah, so I'm gonna adjust these guys, Control B, and then yeah, so this is it for our VLookup. Thank you very much, and I will see you in another video.